with an opening statement, and then we'll move into questions. If you have a question, just raise your hand. I'll call on you. Please direct your question to one of the student athletes or Coach McKeown.
Yeah, I'm going to let these guys get going because we got to go to class in the morning. So I'm going to let you questions for Mel and Paige, please. And then
Go to questions for the student athletes.
Mel, you didn't have the greatest game against Ohio State. You only scored 2 points, but since then, 5 out of your 6 games have been in double digits, and you've been shooting around 50%. How have you bounced back from that Ohio State game to really become one of the team's leading scorers?
I kind of just told myself that 2 points was unacceptable, and I need to find a way to help my team in some way and get the ball and attack and do other stuff. But yeah, 2 points wasn't gonna fly, and so I told myself try to find ways to get involved with the team.
Now, Caitlin said you seem to get up for Iowa quite well. I asked her about your play. Is that true? Do you have a certain different level you go to?
A little. I think it started from freshman year. I mean, I played in freshman year. At that point coming in, I didn't know too much about her, and so I came in, I don't know, like wide-eyed freshman. I was excited to play college basketball, and I played well in that game, and so I was kind of in that team that I really go at. Yeah.
hopefully Wisconsin, too.
Hopefully
Paige, pretty physical play in the interior tonight. What did you and the rest of the bigs try and do to counteract Iowa's physicality?
I think we're strong and we can battle with them, definitely. They had heavy help side, so it was difficult to get the ball inside. But we know what to do. We know to skip. I know just sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's loud in there, the lights were going. It's easy to forget, oh, let me skip this so my teammate can get the ball. Something that we're practicing, though.
Question for both Paige and Mel, but what was it like seeing Wild Side show up for you guys tonight? Because that's not really typical for a women's basketball game, but the student section was completely full tonight.
It was nice. I mean, it'd be nice to see every game. I think part of it was just the fact that it was a big game. We were playing Caitlin Clark, and so I think a lot of people came really to see her play.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think having the fans be there, though, it's this energy booster for us. And I think that, I would hope that after seeing us play, even though it wasn't the outcome that we wanted, we're a fun team to watch. And, there's a lot of energy, and I hope that they come back.
Yep, 100%.
Melannie, your mid-range game, it feels like every time you take a shot, there's a magnet towards the rim. It's just, it's so good. How have you developed that this season?
It's kind of just been something I've been working on since I was younger. My dad always told me that people aren't really taking mid-range shots anymore. People are fanning out to the three. And I think that started with Steph. Started shooting the three, and everyone just started fanning out to the three-point line. And I realized how open the middle of the court was inside the arc, and so I just started working on that.
So what was it like tonight? I mean, just the atmosphere. I mean, obviously it was pretty heavy Iowa fans, but just to see the full house.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Or? Oh, okay. I mean, it was fun. It was a nice atmosphere. I think, honestly, while, at least for me, when I'm on the court, I'm not really hearing everybody. I hear our fans cheering, but I wasn't really listening to the Iowa fans. I was just focused on the game.
Yep.
For Mel or Paige, can you explain what it's like to have to try to stop a player like Caitlin Clark and all the different things that she can do? Because it seemed like you guys did a real good job of guarding her at times, but she's able to set up her teammates and stuff like that. What is that challenge like facing her?
Let me look at the stats real quick before I say something.
Yeah.
I think she's a great player. I really do. I feel like we guarded her really well on the three-point line, and then we just completely forgot that she could drive. She can make layups. There's other stuff that she can do. When you take away one of the heads, another head comes up, so.
It seemed like from the beginning, you guys, whether it was Haley or Mel, either you guys are kind of picking Caitlin up full court. Did that change throughout the game? Did you guys kind of shift when they kind of relied on the post a little more? Did you kind of shift towards a little bit hey, let's protect the paint a little more?
I'm sorry, I don't really understand the question.
Sorry, yeah, I'll say it again. It seemed like you and Haley were picking Caitlin up full court to begin the game. Did you guys have adjustments after the first quarter when they were attacking the paint a lot?
Not really. I mean, we still wanted to pick her up full court. I think we just wanted to get away with her vision. So we continued. I mean, me and Haley switched off depending on what the coaches wanted, who they wanted to guard her or whatever. But we just kind of, our focus was really on her. And, I mean, we really wanted to take her out of the game and be beat by somebody else. So our goal was to full court pressure her.
There was a lot of anticipation around this game. Just wondering, was it what you thought it would be, or how did you think it was versus how maybe you thought it would be coming in? with all the hoopla and all the attention?
I thought it was going to be a much closer game. I thought it was going to be a much better game than what it was. We didn't show up to play for 40 minutes, and that is what it is. Whenever we play Iowa, though, you can look this up. They do not play well against us. They hate playing against us. Caitlin Clark has said it. It's always a 50-50 chance. I beat Iowa 3 times in my career. They don't want to play against us. This was a rare occurrence that'll never happen again. So.
One more question.
What's your guys' opinion about the moment that's happening, not just like with Caitlin and Iowa women's basketball, but across the country with women's collegiate basketball, whether it's, USC or South Carolina, LSU. Everyone's paying attention to this game right now, and I'm curious what your guys' opinion is of that.
I think it's great for women's basketball. I think people are paying attention, and whether it's to watch Caitlin Clark or Angela Reese or Juju or whoever it is, like, as long as you're watching women's basketball, like, that's a great step for our sport. And I mean, hopefully, like, when, players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese get to the league, that the attention doesn't just go away from us, because I think over the years, like, it's gotten so much more competitive, and we're fun to watch. And I don't know, I mean, I think women's basketball is up right now, and it should stay up.
Yep.
Alright, thanks, Mel and Paige.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
night.
Alright, we'll move on to Coach McKeown. Again, he'll start with a statement, and then we'll move into questions. Reminder, raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll call on you.
Yeah, let me say, it was a great atmosphere from the standpoint of, I've been doing this in women's basketball for 40 years, so I think you think you've seen everything. But I was really proud of our team, to echo what Mel just said. Women's basketball is in a special place, and we got to take advantage of it too. And our players, we're, as Paige said too, we've always played well. We've made Iowa games have been great games. The last time they were here, we made a shot at the buzzer, and the game went to over. It got waved off, and the game went to overtime. That would have been 4 straight that we beat them. And I'm disappointed tonight wasn't one of those games. So give them a lot of credit. They're a great team. They just have a lot of weapons besides Caitlin. And, they're old. They play off her, and, they don't beat themselves. So, be happy to answer questions. But I was really proud of our team, and, it was great to see everybody come out tonight. It's a little bittersweet because, you want to see that all the time. And again, our game is starting to feature that. So hopefully tonight was just a small sample of how good our game is right now. Go ahead.
Coach, obviously a tough loss tonight, 36-point loss, but a historic game and night for the team, for Northwestern. Just
Why do you say historic? I'm sorry. Is that what you said? I'm
yes.
sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
First time a women's basketball game was sold out at Welsh-Ryan Arena tonight. Just how do you approach the team on a night like this? Just so many great things coming out of tonight, but also.
Yeah, I would say this. We won the Big Ten championship a couple years ago. We would have sold out both games in the NCAA tournament, and we were going to be a 2 or 3 seed. And I have no doubt that we could have made a run to the Final Four with that team. And I think these games would have been like you saw tonight as far as fans, just from the amount of I want to recognize that team too. COVID took away the NCAA tournament that year, so we never got a chance to prove that. So tonight, I appreciate what you're saying. This is it's a great night for our players to just see to feel what it's like when everybody's standing outside when you're coming in 2 hours before the game. So, I appreciate what you're saying.
Coach, you talk a lot about your experience. Where does Caitlin kind of rank in terms of the talent of players you've seen over your career?
Yeah, she's a great player. I have a lot of respect for her. I've watched her, since she was in high school, and we've done a pretty good job. We had, Veronica Burton, the Defensive National Player of the Year, and those two went at it hard. She held Caitlin to 8 points one night, and we were able to beat, shut her down at times. I'd say this about her. I've coached against Candace Parker and Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. I coached Cheryl Miller, whatever. I've seen all the best of the best. And, one thing that about her game, I just see on film, it's the first time we, obviously we're live. She's gotten a lot better too. And I give her a lot of credit. She's more physical. She gets to the basket harder. She's a point forward now. She rebounds and pushes the break. So, she's a great player. As far as the all-time, I think when you've been in, in the Big Ten a long time like I have, where you go back to in our sport, there's a lot of great players too, and I'm glad that she's created an atmosphere and an identity where some of those players now are being talked about and recognized. So I give Caitlin a lot of credit too for expanding our game.
Coach, Haley had 13 points in 17 minutes. Mel had 19 points off the bench. What went into the decision to keep Haley's minutes low, and what goes into the decision to bring Mel off the bench?
Well, the first thing, Mel, for us, is I think she should be in the running for Big Ten Sixth Player of the Year. And I was mentored by the great Red Auerbach, and he told me, and he used to tell my players, nobody knows, because the Boston Celtics always had the Sixth Player of the Year forever. And he always said, nobody knows who your fifth player is. They give a trophy out for the Sixth Player of the Year. And you think of the impact that position has and what Mel does for us, sparks us. So that's really a lot of the reason we bring her in like that. And, Haley's, doing a great job for us. And, I think, she's really grinding for us too. So, those things will fluctuate. But we really like Mel's pop coming off the bench. And if she wins the award, I'm going to give credit to Coach Auerbach.
Just in terms of style of play, how do you think this Iowa team is different from last year when they made the deep Final Four run? Not having Monica in the middle kind of changes the play type, and McKenna too. How are they different from last year?
Yeah, I mean, I was glad those guys graduated. I felt like they've been here 20 years, and Susanna was a great player, and Warnock, one of the most underrated players in the Big Ten. So a lot of respect for them. I think the one thing Iowa does, I give them a lot of credit, Coach Bluter and their staff. They develop, every time I think somebody left and they're going to take a step back, like a Gustafson or, over the years, they just, you're seeing their three post players now, coming in and, they're just as potent, different roles than Monica, who was, I was looking at some boxes when we beat them at Iowa. She had 34 2 years ago when we beat them there. And I'm like, how do we beat them? But she was that. I think Caitlin Clark and her, they could get 50, 60 points a night. And so now I think it's more people distributing, more people involved. And I saw with Martin is another player who probably is in that most underrated player role.
Do they feel a little faster now? Like maybe play with more pace?
I think they're a little more physical and they might be a little bit better defensively. But you have to ask Coach Bluter, and again, they played for the national championship, so it's hard to say you're better than that team last year. But, again, I'm just really, to be honest with you, focused on my team, trying to get ready for Wisconsin.
Take one more question for Coach McKeown.
I got two. I need a ride home. Yeah.
Whether it's here or elsewhere or GW, have you ever been a part of something like this that's helped you prep for this?
I played, and this is, I will tell you, since we played UConn in Storrs, Connecticut in the NCAA tournament. This would have been, 97, 98. We had a great team. Connecticut had a great team. We had both been in the Final Eight the year before, thought we were both going to the Final Four, and we both got beat. And I will tell this story because I'm sitting here. It was sold out. We played on a Sunday night. The NCAA tournament, we used to play Friday, Sunday. We're back a little bit. So the men's games were all done by 5 o'clock. We were the only game left, was GW UConn, and it's on national TV, and it was sold out, and everybody watched. And we had just beaten Georgia in overtime. And I will tell you who called me the next morning. So that game, you know, we felt like we should have won. We had chances. We lost at UConn. It was sold out. You couldn't move, and everybody watched. And this was 19, which is great. This was 19. And I played them again with Bird and Taurasi in that group there. So, and then I think I was telling Melissa too, we played, I used to play Tennessee all the time. We played Candace Parker in a sold-out game. She had just dunked twice. The first game at Old Dominion was sold out. And it was this kind of atmosphere with the media too. And so I've been in those situations, and I think tonight is great. But also, you look at our game right now, and we're still playing the NCAA tournament on home courts. And again, my mentor, Red Auerbach, actually called me. He watched the game. And he said, "Why are you playing this?" He couldn't figure out why this game was being played in Storrs, Connecticut, and the winner goes to the Sweet 16. So I think now that there's so much focus on women's basketball, maybe over the next couple of years, we could support playing on neutral sites in the NCAA tournament like men's basketball has been doing forever. So I would hope that we could support it. We went to a pod system, and now I think there's enough interest that we could support it, right? Sorry, hey, I'm a Red Auerbach fan, as you can tell.
All good, Coach.
He's my mentor.
You mentioned Candace Parker, you mentioned Sue Bird, you mentioned Diana Taurasi. In your opinion, in your experience as a head coach, who's the toughest player you've gone up against?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I would put, in being in the Big Ten, and then, being in a lot of NCAA tournaments, sometimes, Candace she could do whatever she wanted. She was Michael Jordan in so many ways. I think you're going to see Caitlin, what she did in the NCAA tournament last year. And again, that's where we showcase, that's where I think she'll have an opportunity this year. But she's in that group that, that I've been able to try to guard. Taurasi stood next to me by my bench and hit 3 threes and just looked at me like, "You're going to guard me tonight?" Sue Bird is, I'm probably going to see her tomorrow, which is unfortunate. It's a long story, but on a sad note. But yeah, they're all, and again, different generations. And I think what you're seeing, this will be, I wish Caitlin, but I'm a big fan of hers. I think she's humble, and the way she handles herself. I hope the WNBA embraces that too, wherever she ends up. I feel like that we got to continue to grow, and hopefully there's more teams and more spots. I got Veronica Bird and Nia Coffey. I got Lindsay Pulliam, who scored 2,000 points here, and we can't get her a job in the league, and she's so hopefully all you guys helping expose our sport will help us grow too in the WNBA. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Miss.